Ladies and gentlemen, live from the WCRD studios at Ball State University, it's live from Letterman!
Next time on the scene.
Good evening, Muncie. My name is Logan Browning, and you are listening to Live from Letterman right here on WCRD 91.3, Always Better Radio. You're listening to us and not whatever that ad was that started playing there. I don't know whether that was. That totally wasn't my fault at editing at all. Join with me tonight, as always, is my lovely co-host, Mr. Jonathan Page. Johnny, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay, there we go. I mean, better than not.
Yeah, I'm just counting the days till Thanksgiving. That's all I'm doing right now. Just waiting until I can stuff my face full.
Stuff your face full. I mean, we're, what, like 2 weeks?
We've got
Give or take?
the rest of this week, and then we got next week, and then we got 2 days.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we're almost there. When does break start? Is it at the
starts
beginning?
on Wednesday. Well,
On the
Tuesday
Wednesday?
once classes are over. That's when your break starts. Because I mean, at least for me, like none of the teachers have assigned homework over that bit.
Yeah, but
They will.
they will. They definitely will.
They will. I have one teacher where I know for a fact he's going to give me something.
If it helps, over fall break, we also had an assignment.
Yeah, I had that too. Yeah.
Our guest here today, who we'll introduce here in a few, helped me on my assignment over fall break.
I remember that.
It was fun, though. Didn't have too much to complain, but good. Okay, nearing fall break. Not
Yeah.
fall break, Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
break.
break.
Fall break passed.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I'm
This
tired.
time change is messing me up.
Really?
Well, more so that now it looks like 7 p.m. at like 3 p.m.
Yes. Well, that happens.
And my brain is just not wired for that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I am a little out of it. I'm a little tired.
I've been waking up before my alarm, so I know that that's awful.
That is like the worst thing
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever hated anything more. Because then, like, waking up beforehand to like a certain extent, like if it's like an hour before, fine, go back to sleep, you're good. But then you wake up like 15 minutes.
And it's like, do I go back to bed for the 10 minutes that I can and then, like, kind of just lay here motionless for the 5, or, like, lay here for 14 minutes and then, like, wake up crazy? And
I guess what do you do if you have 15 minutes
So
left?
if I got 15, it depends. Sometimes I'll just give in and I'll just fall back asleep until I hit my alarm. The problem is when I do that, I just keep hitting snooze, and then I've got 10 minutes to get ready and then get on the bus and get to class. Sometimes, though, if I feel motivated, which is rare, I will then grab my phone and then just turn the alarm off, and then I'll scroll on, like, TikTok or Twitter, and then I'll then start getting ready.
You can never do 15 minutes on TikTok. I do 15 minutes on TikTok.
No,
that's 3
what
days
I'm
later.
saying is I get on TikTok and Twitter and I start going, and then what ends up happening is instead of like, oh, I got up earlier than my alarm and now I'm prepared and ready for the day, I then wait, and then I still have 10 minutes to get ready because I wasted so much time on my phone. So
It is the duality of man, truly, at the end of the day. To be or not to be is modernized by to scroll or not to scroll.
yeah.
To tweet or not to tweet.
do you think back in like the 50s, like the dad would wake up before his alarm? He's like, oh, I guess I could read the newspaper a little bit. And he gets so lost reading the newspaper, he's like, oh no, I got to get ready for work. Do you think that ever happened? Or did this start to happen when smartphones were introduced?
I think we can draw this all the way back to cavemen when they woke up and they're like, oh, ooga booga. And they like check their little like rock watch. I watch Flintstones, they have those. I looked at the little rock watch and goes, oh, ooga booga. And then he like just like sat there like slapping sticks together for 15 minutes.
And then he was late for the
like,
hunting.
oh, yabba dabba doo. And then like the giant pterodactyl bus came and got them.
Yeah. Just like the way it was,
Historical accuracy.
historical accuracy, yes.
I have a PhD. Or my doctor, it was something like that. PhD, pH balance. I don't know, something like that. Something along those lines. But I'm glad we are 4 minutes in and already in a weird hole.
Yeah, great.
that we can't really
Why
dig
don't we
ourselves
hop over
out
to
of.
our guest? We've heard him giggle a few times.
Yeah, well, that's probably about the only time we're going to, because John, you and I are so funny. Ladies and gentlemen, on our show here today, we have a new friend, is what I categorize him in my brain. I do categorize him as a friend, and I've only known him for like a month and a half.
Yeah, pretty much that.
A little more. There we go.
I mean, that fall break you were talking about, it's really the only time, like the first time I met you.
Group
Fast
of three.
friends.
Oh, you're so right.
But that was only like a week before that.
Yeah, that was like a week before that, and we kind of looked at each other.
And I was like, it's that guy.
Hello. And then I was put in a trench coat and told to act like a detective.
Yeah, then we started filming. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Live from Letterman, Mr. Graham Hornbeck.
That's the one.
Haha.
There you go. You got a last name
When
right.
I had Chase on, I completely forgot Chase's last name. And then
That's
it dawned
not a
on
good
me that
look.
I never knew Chase's last name. And so we had a weird moment on air when I was like, Chase, what's your last name?
Who are you again?
Yeah, who are you? How do I know you? How'd you get in here?
Why are you here?
There was also, we had another guest where Logan was asking, like, how do you pronounce your last name? How do you pronounce your last name? And then we got on air. He said the last name wrong after practicing it for, like, I don't know, a good, 10 minutes.
And it wasn't even the once. It was like, got it wrong like 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eventually, I just stopped saying that. I was like, our good friend, you. How you doing?
just
bud?
like introduce yourself at this point.
Just
like, come
say
on.
your name, yeah.
Just each time you start, just reintroduce yourself. That'd make everything just a whole lot easier. But yeah, Graham, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, you mark a second occasion for the show of somebody who was asked to be on,
Yeah, that's true.
which is surprising for us.
We even got one is surprising. Now that we
The
got
fact that we even
two.
got one person that we asked was surprising. It
Yeah,
got to the point
Chase
of us,
told me how fun it was, and I'm like, I should try that.
oh, no pressure.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, now we have to be fun. Oh, he has no idea what
Oh,
he's
God,
in
we have to
store
leave a good
for.
impression.
Man, I wouldn't say a good impression.
Halfway decent.
Just an impression, honestly, is good enough.
Yeah, and not even we don't have to leave an impression. If we can leave a depression, that would be good enough.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
you can
well.
just add to it, you know.
Yeah, just add more. Add more to your life. Just put it in there a little bit more. That's what she said. Now, anyways.
Oh God.
Graham, tell us about yourself. What year are you? What are you studying?
Yeah, I'm a junior. I'm a TCOM major, as I'm guessing a lot of people you've had on here are.
By a lot, I think all but 2. And that was our siblings who neither which are in college.
Well, and Maggie, so 3.
3.
3.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
3.
So, yeah,
Three out of, like,
try
the
to, I'll
10.
try to rush through that a little bit. I'm focusing in video production,
There we go.
and
Heyo.
then I'm minoring in sign language.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why
Whoa.
sign language?
So I actually, freshman year, when I changed my my major to TCOM, they're like, you're gonna have to take a language now, and I hate taking languages.
Oh, me too.
I tried in high school and I absolutely hated it. I took German in high school and in middle school and like elementary school. I think in grand total I did like 5 years of Latin, which sucked. Latin's
Does that count?
horrible.
Isn't that famously like, hey, this is a language no one speaks anymore?
It's a dead language.
It's a dead
but-
language, but it leads into other languages really, really nicely.
Okay.
So like I had a good base. So then in high school I could learn like Spanish, and it's like very closely related. So I kind of have a upper hand there. But I didn't go into Spanish.
Oh, no, if it helps, I took 3 years of French.
Mm-hmm.
As I like to tell people, I showed up to class for 3 years of French. I could not tell you a single sentence. But I do have very clear memories of a written exam where apparently at random moments I would just slip into Spanish because I took a year of Spanish in the 8th grade. And my teacher would go ahead and circle all the bits I wrote in Spanish and then would still pass me with like a B.
That's
Really?
wow.
I think she thought either like my assistant wasn't there with me, like to help me take the test,
Or like you're just bilingual.
or I was just that good.
Yeah, you're a prodigy of Spanish.
Let me tell you, as any person who has seen me out in the wild knows, I've had one too many Taco Bells in my life. They're ringing just like the ambulances taking
Yeah.
me with my complete heart blockage at age 12. I say at 20 years old. Sorry, I interrupted you. Continue. You were taking
It's
Latin.
all good. Well, I took Latin, but in high school I did German for 2 years and then like half a semester of Spanish, and hated just the process of learning languages.
Fair.
Anything where I have to like sit down and look at a giant piece of paper that's then just like vocab and memorization over and over again, I cannot stand.
Oh no, I also hate language. I switched from the Bachelor of Arts to the Bachelor of Science. I don't like science, but I hate languages more.
Because, before TCOM, I was an art major, so I didn't have to do a language. And then I switched to TCOM, and they're like, you're going to have to take a language. And I'm like, sign language on here. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite class from that semester. I just completely fell in love with the language. And then pretty much right after that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this as a minor, because I didn't have a minor at that point. And, I've just been chugging along through it. It's great.
Nice.
I absolutely love it.
So you mentioned you used to be an art major.
Mm-hmm.
When and why did you switch from that?
I switched from an art major after first semester freshman year for 2 reasons. The first, more official reason is because I failed every single art class I took.
That's usually a good reason to switch, yeah.
And the second, more personal reason is that I was just like, doing art as a career or like a job was really demoralizing. So I'm like, look, I'm out. I'm going to go into TCOM. I love movies. I love film. And I could still take like a love of visual medium and visual storytelling and put that into camera work.
No, that's fair.
And so I found that to be a really good way to like still do stuff I like, but also not have like my main outlet be turned into like a profession.
Yeah. So what sort of art were you focused in? Like, I know obviously there's sculptors, painters, people like to work with clay more. Like, where were you in the grand scheme of everything?
I'm mainly a digital artist. I came here to do animation. You don't get to go into animation until like sophomore year, and you have to test it and yada yada. So that freshman year semester, it was very much so like, you're going to go through the basics again, learn figure drawing, work with charcoals and a lot of traditional media. And that's really stuff that I cannot stand. I went through like my full art journey. I'm doing air quotes, my art journey, quote unquote, in high school, where I was just like, I'm going to try everything. And then I narrowed it down to digital, especially animation. Like for my portfolio to get in here, I had animations I had done in high school. And then, just having to go and like do charcoal and then put it next to people who love doing charcoal when I hated doing charcoal, it was just like a horrible feeling. So I kind of dipped soon after. I specifically remember like we all went to the greenhouses and we were like doing these colored pencil like sketches of different plants. And I just absolutely hated every single moment there. I was like sweating in this greenhouse. I hated the medium I was using. And then they're like, you can't like use color. Instead, we want you to like do a different pattern to show like different parts of this plant, which is cool in theory. But in practice, I was just like bored out of my mind.
As no disrespect, but as I feel like every child is in art class.
Yeah.
If it's not a day when you get to do like fun stuff, it's kind of boring. But no, I mean, I get that. I mean, not being able to do what you love, I feel like kind of puts a damper on everything, much to my chagrin of Ball State not having a film program.
Yeah.
We have sports production is what I've been told we are changing everything to.
You're changing it like all film is turning into sports production?
That's what I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, but one of my teachers, just in case he wasn't supposed to tell us this, because he did just come from a faculty meeting.
I'm guessing I know which one.
Yeah, you definitely do. Maybe you don't. It's not the one you had.
Okay.
He came in and told us that like starting either next year or the year after, they're switching the whole TCOM now media department from, because even nowadays like it's focused on that, but you get the occasional like cinematography class. You can get anything every now and then, but they're switching everything to just full blown sports production, news production. But even then they said they're phasing out of news even a little bit more and going straight to more sports and ESPN. And
I mean, it makes sense with the way things are set up here, especially with SportsLink and NewsLink. But that is I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it really makes sense because the it's a lot easier to go into like a career that way. I think
that's the big bulk of it.
Because like especially if you're trying to go into like cinematography or like film production, it's like most other arts, very hit or miss in terms of if you're going to be able to get like a consistent job with it. Because it's like, I always joked about it where it's like with a degree that I'm wanting to like make films with and be a cinematographer, most likely what I'll be doing is like shooting ads for like a toothpaste company, and I'm kind of fine with it.
Yeah, no, mine, that's what I always told people. I'm like, to get the experience I feel like I would need and the education I need to go forth on that, I will get after graduation.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of that is on the spot. Like I've learned like from the classes I have taken in my degree and then working in the equipment room, I've learned I'm like, you know what, this is a very serious avenue that I could take that is, you know, would pay the bills and I would get my cup filled from it. And I'm like, I don't have to take a single class. I just need to know how to order stuff off a computer and how to organize an Excel sheet. That's all you need to know.
So when you said get your cup filled, was that pun intended? Because you're working in equipment, like athletic cups.
No.
We all know your cup's not being filled, John.
Thanks.
You're welcome. That was for all you ladies out there. But yeah, no, I mean, I get that. That's honestly what I thought with radio and stuff, because I did it and thought it was fun. Then when I got my internship at another station over the summer, literally my one mentor, talked to him every day, came in, he goes, yeah, you're not going to get rich off of radio. Yeah, I wouldn't pursue it. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. There we go.
Like, oh, thanks for selling your profession.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, and then I love it, but I will argue it's probably already kind of a dull profession.
Yeah.
Other than the cool stuff of getting to sit here with friends and talk, or like getting to have, this is my creative outlet. When I can't do things like film and stuff, which I know is probably yours and stuff. Like when you can't do that, this is what I do. But yeah, there's a reason NPR exists. There's the reason the stereotype's there.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
I also think that though, I run the personal belief where it's like, I would much rather do a job I enjoy and not make that much money than make a lot of money just kind of grinding away.
Preach. No,
Very true.
I'm a firm believer in that philosophy. Then piggybacking off that, you have one life.
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
here. Do what you want. Make the most out of it.
I don't want to torture myself for like 40 years in the hopes I get to retire.
Yeah, because then it's like, then what? You're like, oh
yeah, and
then
I
just,
retire and I'm like
sit
60.
here and do nothing, and I'm like, okay.
That's why I don't really get like this might offend some people, but it's not bad. But like when someone says like I'm gonna go to school to be like an accountant, I'm like, I know that you might like find like, oh, I like doing math, like that's fun for me and stuff, but I'm like, I feel like, I don't know, like what do you like as an accountant? I feel like, I guess I don't know many accountants, so like I guess the stereotype is you sit in a cubicle and you know go through numbers all day. So I'm like, I don't feel like that's gonna make you feel fulfilled by the end of the day.
You say
like maybe
that,
if you're like a personal accountant and you're like, you know, like, oh, I get to actually help people with their money and I get to work with them, like that's what I love doing, and I love math at the same time, like, well, that makes total sense. But like if you're gonna work for like a big office firm and as an accountant and stuff, I'm like, I guess I don't get that. Now again, I might be totally wrong. Someone might be like, I love my little cubicle and I love sitting here and I love typing, and it's like I get that, but you know, yeah. So
you say that, but that's like my mom's dream job.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Way to go, John.
No,
Just realized, like, oh,
think
no.
I think it's weird as hell that she loves that. But yeah, she works as like a secretary that also does a lot of like money stuff for one of the labs at Notre Dame.
Okay, but that's cool though.
See,
Yeah,
Like the
but it's
environment's
also
cool.
like she sits at a desk all day and doesn't talk to anyone,
Clickety-clack.
and she loves it. She just listens to her D&D like podcasts when she's doing.
Is it either Critical Role?
It's Critical
or,
Role.
I started listening to one called Dungeons and Daddies.
I actually think that she's listened to that one too, just because she's listened to like everything D&D related.
Yeah, I would like to throw out there real quick. Shout out to them, very hilarious. But before that sounds like some weird, some weird thing that I found online. No, it's D&D, but all the participants, players, I don't know what you call them, all their characters are just like middle-aged suburban dads.
Some of the best characters to
So
play.
they just say like dad jokes and stuff throughout their
Yeah,
entire
that's
time.
why I love it. But they get like caught in this like in the world, and like their sons get kidnapped, so they have to go save them.
Aw.
The name of it just sounds like a certain type of film.
Yeah,
I
it
can't say specifically.
Yeah.
here on
I mean,
air.
I'm sure that's what they were sitting there. They're probably like, dude, this would be a hilarious name if we
This
did
would be
that.
funny.
And then they're like, well, you know what? We probably could just do that. And then
Yeah.
now they have a podcast that I'm sure thousands of people listen to.
More actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those like
Hundreds of thousands.
Monetized,
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
yeah,
big
yeah,
bucks.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Critical Role, which is
Like Critical,
huge
which-
and has like books and
Yeah.
a show now and stuff like
Do
that.
they have a show?
Yeah, they have an animated TV show.
Oh, jeez.
That's sick.
The Legend of Vox Machina. That was actually my first introduction to Critical Role because
Yeah.
my parents had been watching it. They were like, "You should watch Critical Role," and I'm like, "Nah, I don't." I mean, I like podcasts, but I don't sit and listen to a podcast. I need like harsh noise in order to
Oh no,
focus on
my
something.
only podcast environment is just like if I'm driving back to my hometown
Yeah, I get that.
because it's like an hour, and I'm like, Conan O'Brien needs a friend. It's only an
Yeah.
hour. Who is this Martin Short? Play it.
Yeah,
That's
I get that.
my issue is more that like I just can't listen to people talk for that long. Like I feel like I'd be sitting on a bus listening to a conversation. I'm like, I can't do this.
Define how long. I say, as the co-host of a show where we sit there and talk for an hour.
An hour. The problem is I'm the one doing the talking, so it's fine. But I can't listen to someone talk for
Yeah, so
an
if it was
hour.
just
an
you,
ego
he
thing.
would
Yes,
not listen.
absolutely.
He would not listen if it was
I would
just
much
you.
rather hear my own
That's what
voice.
He hasn't listened to my other show, so I believe it.
Wow.
It's early.
Bad
It's an
co-host.
early show.
There's an afternoon one, son.
How early
I have
is
an.
it?
I work in the afternoon.
My 2 time slots are 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
God, no.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You looked at me weird. Now you know why.
and then 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
All right, that one's fine.
Yeah.
That one's fun.
That one's
And
like
I
me getting
yeah.
out of bed.
He's like, that's my morning drive time.
Yeah, you guys were talking about your morning routine, and where it's like I set my alarm, like, so it gives me the 30 minutes to lay in bed and scroll through TikTok.
Oh, I do that
have
too.
that. I
I
have
do
that
that
like
too.
built into my time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
I probably
timetable.
should experiment with that. Like, wake me up at 7.
Oh God.
Then I'll actually open my phone at like 7:30 so that I can scroll till 8 and then get out of bed.
To make it to class at 1 p.m.
Then make it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Aiming back towards our guests.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Quick warning, Graham, this is going to happen so much.
That's fine.
I think when Chase is on, I think even before we got to his first question, we were already arguing about Batman
Yeah.
and like who the best one was. So we're just trying to
Michael
cut in here,
Keaton.
but who?
Michael Keaton.
Very, very high. That's very.
I'm
high
not gonna
on
lie
my
to you.
list,
That's my number 2, so I respect the answer.
Who's your number 1?
You know, this is Batman v Superman, Ben Affleck.
I know.
What the hell?
See,
How
that's
dare you.
yeah. No, that's a fair
I remember
response.
I watched Batman v Superman in theaters with my dad, and that's the first time
I
I've
did too.
ever seen my dad dislike a movie.
No, I felt like a maniac. I felt like a maniac when I got out of the theater because I'm sitting there and we went. There's a place called Flick's Brew House, which I love, and you can eat good food while you're watching the movie. And we went. Usually, my family we always go to that theater whenever a big movie comes out. It's like a big superhero movie. We all went, and I got done, and I was like, that was not great. But everyone else in my family was like, that movie was awesome. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, it was cool. But
Listen,
I didn't
as a
like it.
13-year-old boy who just wanted to watch Ben Affleck beat the crap out of Henry Cavill, I liked it.
that was me too. I
I will
wanted
say,
Batman
but then
to win.
as like a movie nerd,
Nah,
I do really dig the Ultimate Edition. I do like it a lot. I always tell people
I haven't seen that. I've only seen Batman v Superman once, and that was in theaters.
I do recommend the Ultimate Edition for the sakes.
I've watched the Ultimate one. That Ultimate one I watched, I'm like, this is a completely different movie.
Yeah,
Is it like
it's
a Zack Snyder Justice League situation?
was Zack
Yeah,
Snyder, so
exactly.
yeah.
It is an exact same
and
situation.
it's one of those though that unlike what they did for Justice League, I do like Zack Snyder's Justice League a lot, but they cut out all of the elements for the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman that made it a good movie and made the story make sense. Which was, I'm sure, the studio being like, "This is a scene of Lois Lane talking to this guy.
we don't need
We
that.
don't want that." And it's like, well, no, that just
That
explains
explain
like
like
the context.
Do you
of-
remember that whole thing where like Lois Lane's like, I know you're a bad guy,
It's
Lex
like the bullet
Luthor
and
with
all
the
that.
bullet, and then everyone's like, yeah, of course he's the bad guy.
I'm
well,
gonna be real. I don't.
Well, so
Exactly.
there's
Exactly.
exactly because they cut everything out about that story and basically goes from Lois Lane being like, "We should investigate this," all the way to her just being like, "I know you're a bad guy, Lex
Yeah.
Luthor," and it's like, how did we get from? Who cares? I just want to see Superman.
And then they
punch
like
someone.
did that, tied in more with a guy, I can't remember his name, but he ends up being Martian Manhunter.
But
Yes.
what did you like about Ben Affleck's performance that you think made him stand?
I will
out
say, I
above
do
other
understand
Batman?
because I do understand what you're saying because I know what you're going to say. I do agree with you that Ben Affleck's Batman is a good Batman, in my opinion. It was a good Batman.
Yeah, I liked his Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
I thought in terms of like who could probably be like the charming, toyish, like the Playboy Bruce Wayne, like Ben Affleck, because that's just Ben Affleck.
He played an
Ask
older-
any of his nannies.
Oh God.
They've all seen the Batcave.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to his Batman, the one thing I don't like is the guns.
Mm-hmm.
That
Because he
was
used guns.
dumb.
That's Batman's number one rule.
And he
Number
also
two-
killed people.
Yeah. Which one's number one? Killing people or
I
guns?
think killing is
It's
one.
can't kill anyone and don't use guns.
Yeah.
Guns is a little subjective though. That's
Yeah,
in a, like
he was like, no gunpowder and bullets.
He used a grapple gun.
Yeah.
and the thing is, you don't want to use the gun to kill someone.
And
like
I'm
if
sure he's shot
I'm sure he's
Superman
used
with
guns before to
kryptonite
use
guns
things.
all
To
the
like,
time.
but like you can't.
It
use
plays
a gun
into
to
the
kill
no
people.
killing people.
So
but
his main rule is don't kill anyone. Don't cross that line.
yeah. And he did
He
it so
blew
many
up a
times.
building with people in it.
Nah.
To be fair, Michael Keaton kills people as well.
He did. There was a part where he
Oh,
stuck dynamite on a guy.
There's
and
a
the-
lot of times where he just kills people. It's insane.
Yeah. No, that's.
I will say,
that's
I
fair.
think maybe it's because he's a comedian, but I think Michael Keaton is the funniest Batman.
Absolutely.
Just because I keep thinking of the one scene when it was two random people were walking in his gallery in the first one from '89.
Oh yeah.
And he walks in, he's like talking to them and stuff, and the guy's like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, excuse me, Bruce Wayne." And they spent for the past 10 minutes just trashing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He's also been like, oh yeah, I hate that about Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, he was following that other reporter that was wanting to get with Vicky Vale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Batman '89 a lot.
I love that. Did you read the comic?
I've been wanting to
It's
just
good.
because
I enjoy it.
I wish with all my heart I could have seen Billy D. Williams as Two-Face.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Which
Oh,
is
that
the
would've
reason
been
why
amazing.
we praise the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, which
Just
is
remember that. I mean, we all should know that the whatever burned half his face also for some reason. Made
As
him,
everyone knows, Tommy Lee Jones is just white Billy D. Williams.
exactly. That's the thing. He's just
According to Joel Schumacher.
Oh man.
for as much as I love like '89 Batman and Batman Returns,
I do like that.
I
Returns.
hate the two Joel Schumacher ones.
Who doesn't, John?
I-
But
No, I don't like him either. What do you mean?
You like Batman and Robin.
I said I have a weird fascination because it's like I watched as a kid, and like that was the first Batman movie I ever watched. So like I don't hate it
Oh God.
because
Mine
when
was
I
Batman 66. I can't
Yeah,
say-
that was mine. I
well,
used to
I
watch
had
the show.
seen like the the old Wham Pow with Adam West and
Yeah.
everything. Like I had seen that,
66.
but like that wasn't really the Batman that I grew up with. Like I saw Batman and Robin on cable, and for the longest time I thought that was Batman, and then I went from that and then jumped immediately into
Clooney.
Christian Bale, and I was like, "Well, this is way better."
Oh, you went from Clooney to Christian
From
Bale.
Clooney to Bale, and then now I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, there's Keaton and okay." Yeah.
I
So-
remember as a kid really liking Batman Forever, and then last semester I rewatched it and absolutely just hated it. I think it's worse than Batman and Robin.
Yes.
In
think that-
every way. I
'cause the thing is,
hate Tommy
Batman-
Lee Jones as Two-Face.
I
The
love
fact that he
Tommy Lee
wears-
Jones, but I hate him as Two-Face.
The fact that he wears like the big loud patterns, and he just kind of plays it
so
off like the
weird.
Joker. Every single enemy kind of plays it off like the Joker.
yeah, very true.
And then it was one of the movies that for a while made me despise. Oh God, plays Riddler in it.
Oh,
Jim
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
I forgot you don't like Jim Carrey.
Because I watched Sonic 2 in theaters, and then the next day I watched Batman Forever, and I'm like, I don't think I like Jim Carrey anymore.
So you didn't watch Ace Ventura. You didn't watch Man on the Moon.
Nope.
Number 23.
Nope.
Truman Show.
What's
I mean,
that one
I
where
have
he's
seen Truman
where,
Show.
where he forgets the?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's a great movie.
Haven't seen that one.
What's another one that he was in? The Mask,
Yeah.
or just Mask? Man, not that Mask.
Okay, you know what? No, this is good. This is good because remember 10 minutes ago when I said we were going to ask him another question?
Yeah.
Then we didn't. This kind of leads me into the question then. Okay, so you weren't watching those, but who were your inspirations for for wanting to do film and stuff? Because this is my favorite question to ask all the TCOM kids we have on.
Oh God. My modern inspirations are David Lynch,
Okay.
Ooh.
Denis Villeneuve, and
Hold for applause.
yeah, I know, and Yorgos Lanthimos. Those are my three favorite directors right now. As a kid, what got me into both wanting to make media and go into art was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Just finished that the other week for the first time.
Where that was a confirmation in I was wanting to make media, because I wanted to go into animation because I grew up on Newgrounds, so I was watching a lot of like, independent animators just making like video game parodies mostly. Most of them have aged horribly and are pretty racist.
Yes.
Where it's like I go back and I'm like, oh, I remember loving this as a kid, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I've watched a lot of old YouTube videos that like I thought were hilarious as a kid, and then watching them, I'm like, oh my god!
It's not even that old that you can go, because like how the internet was in like 2016, where it was like super anti SJW and like everything was trying to be like as like out there and like triggering, also air quotes again, triggering as possible. It's like you could go back and I could watch things from like freshman year of high school that I thought were like bangers that are just have aged horribly,
just awful,
and are horribly offensive. But it's like, so I took that love of animation, and then when I watched Avatar, I'm like, oh, this can go farther than that. I feel like I've been a big film kid since I was really young, because my brother, who's like 5 years older than me, was a big film kid. His graduation party was like based on a bunch of different like films, where it's like each tent would be a different film.
I am so jealous. That's awesome.
That sounds pretty cool.
And it was so I've always kind of grown up being a film nerd and a film critic, even as a small prepubescent child.
Like all film critics.
Yeah. Most still haven't grown from that stage.
No, I mean, I get that a lot, because the funny thing with me is I also started, like, middle school, I also wanted to be an animator. Mine was also kind of, not really more from the YouTube space, but did you guys ever watch, like, Ed's World?
No.
I did not know.
Fantastic channel. I think the main creator of it, Ed, passed in, like, 2012. But then his friends, like, kept it going, and they had, like, I think the creator's younger brother came in and voiced his character and stuff. But like they kept it going, but it was just a kid making an animation on his computer with his friends and stuff. It was fun. They're funny little cute sketches, stuff like that. But then I think my segue to film, everyone knows, big shocker, Kevin Smith. But I think a lot of it was
big
kind of
Tusk fan.
No, he likes.
I do like Tusk. But
Tusk is really fun.
No, Logan's a big Yoga Hosers guy. That's his favorite.
How dare you?
I see.
That's not even, listen, I'm a man who will stand here and praise Kevin Smith till the day I die, not Yoga Hosers.
Yeah.
Just came to me as a film that I think has been very influential in my life. A couple of them. One of them is directed by someone who's not even a director, and that's True Stories by David Byrne.
Yes.
I've
Talking
watched,
Heads frontman David Byrne.
Yeah. I've watched that movie for as long as I can remember. Cause
I do love that movie.
my parents saw it in theaters,
Yeah.
and experienced like their whole theater walking out on it when they just absolutely loved the movie.
It is a very, John, I see your face. It's a very bonkers movie.
Okay, all right.
If
Because
you-
this is all going.
Well, because Talking Heads is a very bonkers sort of band.
Yeah.
A lot of their lyrics sound like, like there's like a favorite thing, like, how singers just kind of like make random vocal sounds to go through lyrics like before they have them written down. Like how Yesterday by the Beatles was originally Scrambled Eggs and stuff like
Scrambled egg.
just stuff like that, just trying to fill it out. That kind of just is a Talking Heads song.
Yeah, very much so.
It's brilliant.
It
It's
is brilliant.
a
I love
Talking
Talking
Heads song.
Heads. And True Stories is one of those movies. I like these types of movies a lot, where it's just
Stars
like,
John Goodman.
Yeah, one of like John Goodman's like earliest roles.
Yeah. I think it was even before Roseanne.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
and it's but it's a movie that's just a very plainly shot documentary type feel of just like weird people.
Yeah.
But the way it's shown is very loving. David Byrne is never like making fun of these people, because David Byrne also plays as like a narrator throughout the whole thing, and he's hilarious. He has this deadpan like just performance of just like the wildest things. It's incredible. And then another director that really
We have it
inspired
if you want to
me.
watch it. I see the gears clicking.
Yeah.
in
So I was
your
like,
brain.
wait a minute, this movie sounds really weird. I want to
And
see
then
it.
another director I loved is Terry Gilliam.
Okay.
Big influence on my life because I grew up watching like Monty Python.
Yeah.
And then I watched like Time Bandits a lot as a kid, and then also like Baron Munchausen, and then as I've gotten older, I've gone into his other more like mature stuff. Time Bandits is another one of those movies that it's like I hit the mic for anyone that I just like punched the mic full on.
I just saw the fear of God in a man's
Yeah,
eyes.
I was like, oh god, that's gonna sound horrible.
No, I just felt like I was watching the scene. I reference the scene with John all the time. I feel like I just saw the scene from Saving Private Ryan when they're having the knife fight. It's like, shh, shh. He was
It's
like,
just me and this mic.
That was the look I just saw in your eye. It was the look of the U.S. soldier getting pinned down.
Yeah. Yeah, this mic would win in the fight. That's all I'm going to say. I stand no chance.
Oh, good. All right. Well, hey, very interesting. We're glad to have you on the show.
Yeah.
And I figured we should probably get this train rolling.
Yeah.
Break into our quote-unquote segments, which I am excited about. So I should probably stop stalling here. But before we break into our segments, we're about
important.
half hour into the show.
Yes. A little over.
But that's all right. As everyone knows, I'm looking at a piece of paper right now that says all DJs and specialty shows must do a weather update 30 minutes into every hour. And as everyone knows, I do not do that because I don't know. But I figure I should probably start doing it on this show. It's kind of toasty in here.
I'm wearing long sleeves, and I would agree.
Yeah,
that
I'm
it is-
sweating a little bit. My
Yeah,
hands
like
are getting
it's pretty.
clammy.
It's pretty warm in here. I would say a nice, confident 74.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe a little moist.
I think also with our body temps adding to the heat, I think that it also is raising it to
Yeah,
more
definitely.
than what we think it is
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah, so it's pretty warm in here. I mean, if anyone for some reason wants to know irrelevant weather, I mean, it's like 58 outside, but
yeah,
like,
who cares?
who cares? In
Exactly.
here right now for the three of us,
This is what's important.
it's pretty warm. Going into our news for the day.
Yeah.
I will shorten this a little bit due to our time here, but going on. First off, Liam Hemsworth is replacing Henry Cavill in the show The
Oh,
Witcher.
yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
It doesn't that also come with Henry Cavill's going to keep on being Superman?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the PS of the story, which
Well,
that's the good one.
The weird
sorry,
part is,
I'm spoiled.
No, that's not part of this. No, I'm saying
Oh,
that was a
thank
good
God.
part of the
and
story.
the weird part is so I liked the Witcher show a lot. I watched I didn't finish it because I got very busy and was unable to continue. I think I got this episode 5, and I was like, okay, I need to stop because I need to do adult things. But then I will come back and I will finish The Witcher, and then I never did. So I looked up. He signed a 7-year deal to be The Witcher. And Henry Cavill's a mega nerd. I mean, he builds his own PCs. He plays Warhammer. He has D&D. He does all that stuff.
Yeah, what a nerd, am I right?
Well, but like I'm saying, but then on top of that,
Weird Al, he sounded white and nerdy.
he also is a huge fan of The Witcher as well. But he's a fan of the games and the books, and he wanted the show to follow the source material. And the writers have gone on record saying they hate they hate the books and they hate the games. They want to make their own thing.
Just sound like you should at this point maybe write other things.
Yeah, so he's like, he's just leaving. And he had even said, because people were like, well, because this was, when he signed on to do this, he was still Superman at that point, I believe. Or at least when he was,
It was after Justice League.
when he was announced that he was going to be with The Witcher, I think people were like, how is he going to do both?
It's like when he was still technically Superman.
Yeah.
But for some reason, all of Superman's cameos were not Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. So
It was like he was still Superman, but every single movie he had been in had horribly flopped.
yeah, so he had said before, he's like, I will still be Superman along with being The Witcher. When he was announced as he was going to be The Witcher, and then obviously the DCU kind of hit a couple of road bumps, and he was like, I'm going to be The Witcher only. And then,
Well, no, actually.
well, because then he also did some
not to
other
interject
stuff.
here, but no, he was always wanting to. He always had his Superman contract.
Mm-hmm.
DC just stopped giving him the call.
Yeah, which makes sense because they were confused on like, well, are we gonna be even making these movies
The
anymore?
modern DCEU is just
It's a mess because like
let's go James Gunn. Hopefully
some
he
of
can
these
pick
new
up the
movies that have
pieces.
come out, like I mean, obviously you've had the new Suicide Squad, which is I guess the canon Suicide Squad now.
I
the
think
one with
that
John
they
Cena.
both are.
Yeah.
which is weird because it's like
Because
okay.
technically, The Suicide Squad is a sequel to Suicide Squad.
I guess you're right. It is
Because there are characters that mention being in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just realized. I'm like,
As
yeah.
a big fan of 2018 Suicide Squad, I'm going
you
to check
really?
your knowledge here. No.
No, I did. I watched that with a friend of mine. We both got done, and we both looked at each other and
I
were like,
think
that was
it's-
pretty bad.
I think it's legendary because it's one of the few theater going experiences where I have seen a movie that is out of order on the silver screen.
Oscar-winning movie, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say
What did it win an Oscar for?
Makeup.
makeup, which is ridiculous. What did it go up against? It went up against
I
something.
don't know, but I'm not gonna lie to you. For Killer Croc, they can
I mean, it
have
looked great, but it's like that was
Wasn't
it.
makeup. Was it?
No, it was
I
makeup.
thought it was CG.
No, he
no,
was a dude.
the first one,
Wow.
Killer Croc, was completely.
But everything
crazy.
else was CG. Everything else was
Yeah,
CG. He was the only thing that they did makeup. Unless you want to say like, oh, the Harley Quinn makeup was exquisite.
Yeah, the way that they
They
got
may.
like the scuffed makeup perfectly, it was a science.
It's like,
you know.
yeah. So I don't. Yeah,
yeah, but so that's happening. Why Liam Hemsworth? I don't know.
I don't know.
He's cheap.
He probably said yes.
He's cheap
The
and
only-
has Hemsworth as the last name.
Yeah, so it'll draw in people.
Honestly, he may have just hit it right on the head.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
That-
He's got the name, and that he kind of looks scruffy. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a more famous brother,
Yeah.
and he's desperate for work.
And he was once engaged to Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think they got married and then divorced, or just engaged. I don't know. I'll find out. What do you think? I do research for this? God.
I don't keep up with celebrities at all. So
Yeah, well, you're about to, because number 2, Snoop Dogg has a biopic and works at Universal.
Well, let's go.
that's I'll watch that one.
I will watch
I
that.
hope it's
in a
just
heartbeat.
called like 420.
No, it just needs to come out on 420.
They will do that.
They will definitely do
I was
that.
like, 420 could be a Sunday.
Do you think for the premiere of it, they're going to give everyone like free weed before they go into the movie?
Depends where they have it.
Yeah.
California, probably.
Do you think it'll be like instead of like putting on your 3D glasses, everyone needs to hit a, you know?
There's a communal bong
Smoke a
at,
little
the,
bit of
at
weed.
the entrance to the,
So that
to
way,
the theater.
this movie is
Designed
best
like
seen
Snoop Dogg's
high.
head.
Yeah. Have you heard that Snoop Dogg has like a dude on his payroll just
Yeah.
to roll his joints?
Yeah.
And he has like a 401k and everything.
But the dude makes like triple digits.
Oh, he
Yeah.
makes a ton of money just to
No,
roll
yeah.
joints. I
Just
mean, those got to
rolling
be.
joints.
I mean, that guy's got to be really good at his job.
yeah, that dude must be a professional.
I would love to see the turnover in that job.
Just like how quickly and
How's he do his taxes?
Yeah.
I want to watch that guy make a YouTube channel, and then it's just him like documenting every joint he
I
rolls
just want to watch that guy's movie. Make it a found footage movie
of him rolling joints.
for Snoop Dogg in a bunch of different scenarios.
Yes.
Like one's like him in church. One's
Yeah.
another like oh no, life crisis. Snoop Dogg's dad died or something.
Quick, get over there and roll
Quick.
85 joints in a minute.
He better be able to. I
He
mean,
should have his own
He's getting
Guinness
paid
Book
for
of
it.
World Records. That's
Yeah.
just how quickly he can.
roll a joint.
You think if it's quick though, it'd probably be a horrible joint.
Unless this man's just that good.
I think he's just that good.
He
you don't get a
has, like-
401k and get to
He
work for
has
Snoop Dogg
like
if you're not that
mechanics
good.
hands on this joint. He's like a surgeon in there. He has like the glasses with the magnifying like lenses.
Like the dude from Toy Story 2
Yeah.
when he was fixing up Woody.
He walks in like this to everything. And he's like, he's got the hands up like a surgeon, and then
Hands
he's like,
up.
Yeah, he needs to like make sure his hands aren't like shaky. He takes like copious amounts of like prescription drugs to make sure his hands don't shake.
That man's on so much Adderall. It rolled itself. Yeah, no, so that's coming out. I think that's funny. I'm not
sounds
gonna lie
awesome.
to you. I was like, out of any person to get a movie, I'm glad it's Snoop Dogg.
Good. Yeah.
I want it to be narrated by Snoop Dogg.
I hope that like Martha
But, like,
Stewart
doing a
plays
Morgan
huge
Freeman
role.
impression.
"Oh, Martha Stewart, that'd be
I hope
awesome."
Martha
They're,
Stewart's like a main
they are my
character.
favorite best friends in like celebrity Hollywood. It's so funny.
It's so weird too.
I love it, and I love that she did the foreword for his cookbook.
That yeah,
I think that's hilarious.
yeah.
But yeah, well, so that's my Hollywood news for today. I was actually also going to have my review of the Weird Al's movie.
Oh, is it even out?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
on
up.
Roku. You can watch it for you can just type in Roku.com right now and watch it without an account. I'll shorten it real quick right now. It's awesome. I had a blast. It's Weird Al parodying both his life and a biopic. It's the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
With Daniel Radcliffe,
With Daniel Radcliffe.
Harry Potter himself.
Yes, exactly. Well, John, do you think it's about time for Nosebleed?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're about
Good.
there.
You better go grab a tissue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time for our sports segment here on the show, Nosebleeds, with my co-host, Mr. Jonathan Page. Johnny, take it away.
All right. So my first story I got is Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts, got fired. This is after he started with a horrible 3-5-1 record to start the season.
It's the Colts. What do you
The
expect?
Colts have been terrible. I mean, last year they were and then the year before that they were even more
What about the year before that?
Well, wait.
They were great then.
So they had last year was bad. The year before that they made it to the playoffs, but they lost. And then the year before that, I think they also made it to the playoffs. Well, no, they didn't. They didn't make it to the playoffs. They were again. But the year before that, they were really good.
Okay.
All those years, Frank Reich has
And
been
the year
coach.
before that was 2008.
Well, yeah. So anyway, Frank Reich got fired, and so you would think, oh, well, they got a couple of guys on the staff that have coaching experience. They'll just promote that guy. They did not do that. They hired Jeff Saturday, who was a former center for the Colts. Fantastic
Hardly
center.
nowhere.
Amazing center. He's in the Ring of Honor for the Colts. He's amazing. He played with Peyton Manning. He's got a Super Bowl. He's awesome. He's never coached outside of high school, and when he did coach high school, he was 18-19. That was his record.
Is this Ted Lasso?
No, I'm
I've
being
seen
dead
this.
serious. I'm being dead serious. That is who they hired. So I think people are overreacting a little bit. A lot of people were saying that Jim Irsay is racist because he didn't hire a black coach when they had a couple of black guys on staff that they could have promoted. I mean, if you know Jim Irsay, I mean, this is the guy who gave Tony Dungy a head coaching job and was a huge reason why Tony Dungy's now in the Hall of Fame, because he gave him a great opportunity in Indianapolis. He also gave Jim Caldwell, who's also another African-American coach, gave him an opportunity and was essentially forced to fire him because the public was basically rioting and people weren't going to show up to games. So that's why Jim Caldwell was fired. Jim Irsay is the furthest thing from being racist. So it's not because of that. I think it's just Jim Irsay likes Jeff Saturday and wanted to make him a coach. And at this point, Jim Irsay is just thinking, hey, either we're going to win the rest of the games and make it to the playoffs and we got Jeff Saturday, or we're going to lose and we're going to get the first overall pick and then we'll get an amazing quarterback and I can go hire someone new. So that's probably what they're thinking. So
Fair.
I think Jeff Saturday might do fine, but I don't think it's going to be great. But
Only time will tell.
exactly. We'll get to see this Sunday because the Colts play. So we'll see what happens.
There we go.
Next up, Astros won the World Series. They beat the Phillies.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
So-
I was like, I don't really care about the Astros.
I mean, the reason why you didn't hear about it was because if Philly had won, I'm pretty sure the world would have disintegrated because Philly fans would have destroyed everything in their path. But the Astros won. I mean, the Astros have been fantastic. They have been amazing. I mean, yes, they cheated at one point, but since then they have proved that they are, they don't need to cheat to win.
yeah, they just proved that they're a lot harder to catch.
Exactly. So, granted, yes, that's going to stay in their legacy, but those guys just won another ring. I mean, the Astros are a fantastic team. I mean, there's nothing around it. They've been amazing year in and year out, and they just proved it now by winning a World Series. So, yeah, that's all I got sports wise. It's been,
Yeah, pretty quiet week.
a little
Like
nothing.
two cool things.
Nothing insane has
Yeah.
happened. Jeff Saturday thing was insane, but that happened, and it's since
Very, very soap opera. Like, I feel like I just tuned into a show and they just brought back a character from season 1.
yeah, no, that's
Like season 8.
That's pretty much.
I'm looking
yeah.
at you, Arrow, by the way, on the CW. Thank God you ended.
Oh, it ended?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, I think.
Oh wow.
I remember I watched Arrow right after Netflix Daredevil came out because I'm like, Netflix Daredevil's so good. I guess Arrow will be fine. And I watched like half a season of it. And oh my God.
Season 1 was pretty good
That was pretty good.
in the latter half. And then after that, it just went continually downhill. He became mayor at one point.
What?
I mean, he did in the comics.
I know there's a
but
lot of stuff with like the Flash show, and I do not care.
Flash has
even
also
a little
gone
bit.
downhill. I will say the first 2 seasons were pretty good for a CW show. And then after that, I just
I
stopped
never
watching.
watched
I
CW
think
did.
that little after like addition you added, the for a CW show is carrying that whole sentence.
I'll say then the one that's just good all around, Superman and Lois, on right now.
Oh, I
Pretty good
actually-
show.
I have heard good things.
Pretty
about
darn
that.
good show. I recommend that to everybody. John, it's time for your picks.
Oh yeah.
Now let me know. How did you do last week?
So here's what I want to talk a little trash right now. All right, okay.
Why did you go Southern?
I want to
I
talk.
want to talk a little trash right
I want
now.
to talk a little trash right now. I got 2 games wrong last week. 2.
Out of
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It just happened to be that I got the Cardinals game wrong.
So for those of you tuning in who are not aware, our guest last week was my older sister, Kinsey. And her and John got in, it wasn't really an argument, just a mini debate
Tiny spat.
about this game where John basically swore up and down, left and right, that he was going to be right.
I thought I was right. I really did.
And he was not.
I was not.
And don't worry, John, because we have a message from
I know.
Kinsey.
I've heard.
for
But
you
I don't
here
know what it
today.
is.
I don't know if she knows that I'm passing on this message by him anyways.
I don't think she cares.
No, she doesn't. In response, a comment on asking how she feels about being correct, Kinsey replied with, "No real comment. He knew I was right the moment it came out of my mouth. Regret was written on his face."
Okay, my rebuttal.
No, you don't. You
can't-
You
you
were
can't
wrong.
come
When
back from
I
that.
said that, I
She
started
destroyed
thinking
you.
more, and I was like, yeah, but here's the thing. I watched that game. It was a close game up until the fourth quarter where the Seahawks ended up pulling out with one last touchdown to end up sealing it. It was a close game. So my pick was not entirely wrong. And your sister, when I was talking about how good the Cardinals defense is, and she's like, no, they're not. I was like, you know what? No, because here's Geno Smith threw a pick against them. Okay. So you know what? I was right on my assumption that they're playing against Geno Smith. Yes, Geno Smith has been good this year. But let me be real. I was right. The Cardinals defense is halfway decent.
Graham, is this what people hear when we're just like, no, that camera work was garbage?
Yeah, are you kidding me? This movie sucks.
So yes, your sister was right though. So anyway,
Yes, let that be on the public record, Kinsey. The one time I'll ever say this in my life. She's not listening. She confessed it. Yeah, you are correct.
she was correct. So I only got 2 games wrong last week.
Still cool.
Which is pretty good. I'm now at 85 and 51 for my total record, so I'm doing pretty good. So my picks for this week. Now we'll roll into those real quickly. I've got Browns versus Dolphins. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. They've got an amazing offense, and the Browns have a defense that is extremely inconsistent. So I'm going with the Dolphins on that one. And the Browns' offense is also hit or miss. Just kind of depends on how good the run game is and whether or not Jacoby Brissett wants to throw an interception or 2. Falcons versus Panthers. I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one. They almost won last week, so I think they might actually be able to do it. Or not last week, but like a few weeks ago, they almost did it against the Falcons, so I think the Panthers will actually seal the deal on this one.
I'm just listening for a game that I can argue against.
I'm sitting here like, man, I wonder if I can like make him bet on it on radio. Like, can I put down $100 on one of these just randomly?
I mean,
Listen, generally before this segment, we do usually put up a disclaimer to
that
not.
if you bet on these,
Then don't do it. Don't get it twisted. You will lose money if you gamble.
what we say is if I get it right, it's all because of me, and if I get it wrong, it's your fault completely.
You, as in the person who bet,
Yes.
not as in
Yeah.
Logan.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
You
So-
can point directly at Logan.
It's your fault for hiring him.
I do like that mindset though. Every time something goes wrong to me, I'm just gonna point at Logan and say it's his fault. I think that mindset works really well for me.
All right, I'll get through the rest of these real quick. So Seahawks versus Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Apparently they're amazing, so I'm gonna go with them. Plus, but however, I will say this could go either way because Tom Brady is undefeated since getting divorced. So let's see what happens.
That was a
Johnny,
spoiler.
do you know each time you whine like that, your cup gets less filled?
Shut up. Broncos versus Titans. I'm gonna go with the Titans. They've got they threw 5 passes in their last game. None of them were completed. 5 for a 2-hour football game. They threw 5 passes.
It's 5 more than you threw, dude.
And so, but their running back was amazing, and he did great. Derrick Henry was awesome. So I'm gonna go with the Titans. Broncos are, whatever. Who cares? They're terrible. Jaguars versus Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Jaguars are bad, and the Chiefs are amazing. So that's not. I mean, unless there's a crazy upset with that one, which I feel like now I should be knocking on wood. Lions versus Bears. I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Stop, Bear.
The Bears. The
Stop,
Lions
Bears.
beat the Packers, but I don't know. I feel like the Bears got a chance
Well,
here.
who hasn't beaten the Packers this year?
Actually, that's very true. The Packers have been terrible this year. Saints versus Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. Saints, in my opinion, probably have a better defense and a better offense just with the tools that they have. But I think the Steelers might be able to get a win here. So I'm going with them. Texans versus Giants. I'm going with the Giants. Giants have been awesome this year. Vikings versus Bills. Now I'm going with the Vikings. The Vikings are really good, and the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, who's been playing like an MVP this year, might be hurt and might not be able to play.
Good, my plan worked.
Which means if he doesn't play, there's a very real possibility the Vikings win, and that's why I'm taking the Vikings on that one. Colts versus Raiders. Sadly, I do not think Jeff Saturday is going to get his first career win as a head coach. I think that the Raiders are going to win that one. So I'm going with the Raiders on that one. Cardinals versus Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams. The Cardinals let me down last week, so I'm going with the Rams. Cowboys versus Packers. The Packers are awful, so I'm going with the Cowboys on that one. Chargers versus 49ers. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I feel like they're a more complete team than the Chargers. I don't know. Just gut feeling. Think I should go with the 49ers. And then Commanders versus Eagles. I'm going to say that the Eagles are going to remain undefeated, and they are going to beat the Commanders.
For the whole season, they're undefeated?
So far, they've not lost a game.
Pretty hard.
It's
a hard read.
It's crazy. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but I think the Eagles could. I mean, I don't think they're going to go completely undefeated for the rest of the year, but right now they're playing a
I feel like
terrible
it'd be
team.
pretty patriotic if they started losing. Isn't that our
Yeah.
national bird, an eagle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they don't want to be a bunch of commies, they will go ahead and win this game.
Well, yeah,
That's
I mean,
very
they
true.
better beat the Commies. The Commanders their nickname is the Commies.
Wow, this is.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't
so-
realize.
We're
I'm
living
sorry.
through history through football right
I'm
now.
glad my time machine worked. It's 1955 again. Marty McFly just went back to flirt with his mom, and
Red
apparently
Scare.
the Cold War is still
Yeah.
a thing. All right, wow.
Yeah. Well, those are my picks. So yeah, there you
There
go.
Good picks, good record.
Let's hope it continues.
I couldn't find one I wanted to argue with, so you're lucky. It's about time, John,
Yes.
for our favorite segment of the show.
Absolutely.
Florida Man Stories, which, as everyone knows, throughout the week, John and I have picked up two headlines about a crazy Florida man or just crazy news in general, and we have not told one another.
Yes.
And so we're going to react to them live here on air. So, Johnny, give us your two.
Yeah, we got some time to kind of.
We got some,
yeah, so
3
a little
minutes,
bit.
more than we normally
Yeah,
do.
more than we normally. So my first one is it's very relatable to anyone who I think it's very relatable to us. Florida man. Oh gosh,
Oh,
I had
no.
to pop up. Florida man arrested after posing as Disney World employee and stealing Star Wars R2-D2 replica.
Oh, fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
everyone's done it.
I feel like everyone has looked at something in the Star Wars land in Galaxy's Edge, and they've been like, I could totally steal that.
See, I got scared the moment you're like, oh, this could relate to us. Disney man poses. I was like, oh no.
Wait.
Oh, what's happening? What's
Finish
happening?
your sentence, John. But yeah, no, like I mean, walking through Galaxy's Edge, I'll be like looking at something in like that lightsaber area where you can buy like replica lightsabers.
Yeah.
I'd just be looking on the shelf, and I'm like, I could grab that, and no one would know. I could totally steal that.
Little did you know, Chase is a secret agent for the Walt Disney Foundation.
Mickey Mouse gonna kick the door in and be like, "Come over here."
Hot boy, your ass is getting a kicking.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first one. My second one is this one is not as relatable for you and me. Florida man dies after going into lake with alligators to search for frisbees.
Oh, dude, that's totally relatable. I did that yesterday. Except an alligator. Chase, you're not Chase, you're Graham.
Yeah,
Graham
you called
bit
me Chase earlier, and I was going to point it out. But,
Did I really?
wait, you
he's
said
right.
that Chase was a Disney operative, and I'm like, maybe he is, but he's not here.
Can I explain my reasoning?
What?
I think this is the first time ever, minus filming, that I have not seen you guys together.
That makes sense.
Like attached at the hip.
Yeah.
So my brain,
We're
Chase,
inseparable.
Chase and Graham, Graham and Chase.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, rest in peace, but probably should have been jumping in the
But
water.
like at the same time, to make those, he could have gotten one of those little shark pincher things from like
Yeah.
the dollar store.
Well, there's literally signs
Needs a handle,
outside.
See, I'm surprised the alligators didn't go and like fetch it.
Yeah, dude.
Bring it
what?
back.
What jerks?
Very
Yeah.
disrespectful.
I thought that was like built into every single animal's like natural instinct.
Return things to humans.
Or just at least grab it. No, because I know if someone throws something past me, I'm gonna go pick it up and give it back to him.
Yeah, and
like I'm
if
not even
we're
thinking
all on the
about
same
that.
evolutionary trail here.
Yeah.
And they should just give it back.
I think us
become
as
secret
human beings,
propaganda for like anti-evolution.
us as human beings are very close to alligators on the evolutionary tree.
Absolutely.
If I'm remembering it right.
Close relatives.
I mean, if you're Sarah Jessica Parker, yes.
Yeah.
Dear God. Good. I like those. My two, believe it or not, neither of which were from Florida.
oh wow!
I know, this is
is
a
your first
first.
time. I think you're stepping outside of Florida for these ones.
One is overseas, over jolly old London.
No,
I
that's
lo-
like
I love these.
That's like the Florida of Europe.
It really is. I said that, and you guys were like,
It's
I don't
funny
know.
you say that because I was going to say Ireland because I almost pulled an Ireland story.
No, Ireland's
Ireland's like
too.
the main.
Ireland has been too oppressed to be like Florida.
Yeah.
Florida needs to be full of the people that are the oppressors, you know.
Yeah. Like,
And so I'm pretty sure England fits that.
England
pretty
is
well.
definitely the Florida of Europe.
I could argue that maybe like Wales is the Florida of Europe, but that's still even a stretch. I think all of England fits pretty well.
Yes.
Which means that little bit of Northern Ireland does count as Florida.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like northern Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just want to end it on that. Okay, it says London Borough apologizes for having an actor in bare-bottomed monkey costume with fake genitalia at a library to encourage kids to read.
How? That is a
I'd read.
long headline with a lot to unpack.
Oh,
I'd
they're the
read.
British. I mean, I'm glad they apologized for it. I
Thank
don't know,
goodness.
I don't know what their idea
Could you
was.
imagine if they're like, no, we're not apologizing. This was done in good taste.
I think it is a bit weak of them to not like, die on that hill, but I guess I understand.
Do they
Weak.
just run around like, guys, reading is bananas?
Oh, no.
Any
And then number two, this one's back here in the States. I could not find, I believe it's Seattle, but I don't know what city
I
this
wouldn't
was
be,
in.
yeah.
But a CBS sports radio DJ, whose name I won't say, craps pants on air, immediately stating he, quote unquote, just went in my pants.
At least he wasn't lying about it.
It was in the middle of a segment, and like he started laughing about something.
You know how I called those British folk weak?
Yeah.
I think that radio DJ is quite strong for stating that on air, because it's one of those things where I think radio is one of the few times and places where you can, let's say, defecate in your britches.
Dude, I'm doing it right now. I agree.
Yeah, and no one will know. No one will know.
Yeah,
and so
unless
you
you,
don't
like,
need to
say
fess up to it. Like anywhere else, if you do it, you're gonna have to fess up to it because it's noticeable. But I think that on radio you can get away with it, and the fact that he lived up to it when no one pressured him.
He didn't
into
have
doing
to, but he did.
It is yeah. What I'm saying is I trust that guy, and he's my vote. What was that? It was in Seattle, Washington.
I think so.
Put
Don't
him
quote me
in
on
the
that. I
House
think
of Representatives. That's what I'm saying.
And on that oddly topical little point there
Yeah,
you
it
just
was
made
just,
there,
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and use that as a segment for our outro here.
Oh, wow.
We can leave Graham's point of view on the modern election as a way to go out into your world today, folks. Vote if you can. I don't know if they're still voting.
Yeah, hopefully you voted today.
Yeah. I mean, also, I'm not going to lie to you at the end of the day. I don't really care who you vote for.
Thought it
Just
was
do it.
yesterday.
I voted yesterday.
I think it was yesterday. Oh, I don't think it was today.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
yesterday.
maybe it was.
Well, it's
Do they do late ballots? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
I think it was yesterday.
The results
It
are coming in
closed.
now. That's why
Yeah.
we're kind of getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, never mind. If you didn't vote,
You're too late.
cry about it. Thank you all for listening. Over this past hour, you've been listening live from Letterman right here on WCRD 91.3 Always Better Radio. Graham, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
It was
you
a
for
blast
having me.
having you. We would love to have you again.
Absolutely.
I'd be down whenever. Just let me know.
Oh, God, perfect. That you're going to regret those words.
No, it's fine. This is fun.
You're going to come to eat.
I was surprised the hour's already been up.
That tends to happen.
Yeah, it
And
does happen.
I have been urged. I've been
Alerted.
suggested, yes, by our assistant manager that we should just do an hour and a half. And I'm like, people have considered like mass toaster bath.
From you
probably
going
the
a little
radio
bit
way-
later.
Radio safe way of saying it for like far less.
Could we get like an hour and 15 minutes?
I think even like an hour and 45 seconds. I think.
Well, we're about an hour 5 right now.
an hour
We're at hour 5. Oh, people are getting in the bath right now. So we need to sign off quick.
All husband and wives are getting in bath. and the kids are plugging in.
They're holding it above their leg. Are these guys going to stop? They got about 10 seconds.
They're doing a countdown. They're like, okay, if this goes to 10, if this goes to 10, we're dropping this thing.
I don't want to say my joke now. we can end this broadcast on an actual funny note.
I think we end it on a high note.
We need to end it soon.
Next week we'll do 2 jokes. How about that?
No, I'm gonna do it now anyways.
Okay.
2 quick things. One, to an avid listener of Live from Letterman, Mr. Jeff Breckbill is celebrating his 49th birthday today. Happy birthday, Mr. Breckbill. We appreciate you listening in all the time and for just being an overall swell dude. And to wrap up the show today, Graham, I don't know if you know this. At some point during the week, I write a joke, and we'll read it here on air. You should be scared because you know what kind of jokes I make.
Yeah.
To undo all the funny work you just did.
I'll take it all back.
Do you know why you shouldn't make plans with like a really good croissant?
Why?
Because he's flaky.
That's pretty good.
Thanks, man.
That one actually,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
You have very much improved.
I think it was very specific.
Yeah.
Talked about something just kind of off topic. I think it worked pretty well.
I think it worked well. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you all next week. Have a safe and wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.